opening up. Here we go. Woohoo! Ready to roll. And there's that doorbell. Wow, we love to hear that doorbell. Isn't that wonderful? And here we are on our Tuesday morning that we love so much. Okay, so for some people, it may not be Tuesday morning, but it's very close, right? We still want to call it Coffee Connection. So I just want to say hello to everybody. There's Brenna. Hi, Brenna. Man, it's so good to see you all the time again. We have Kimberly. Hi, Kimberly. Good to see you. Awesome. Dennis is here with us as well. I saw Dennis last night at the class. That was pretty cool. We're still going to let a few people in, so we give it a minute. Hey, Carolyn, we don't see you. But I know you're out there, so it's good to see Carolyn. Hey, and Sharon. Hi, Sharon. She just popped in here. See a lot of familiar people. This is awesome. Hi, Helen. So we're going to give it a minute and give time for some people to jump in here because I know a lot of people are excited to hear from Joanna, knowing our spotlight speaker for today. And while we are waiting, hey, hi, Renee. It's good to see Renee also. So while we're waiting, I do want to actually do a couple of announcements. One of them is I want to say, first of all, thank you to Sheila Bugby. She is here to help run the behind the scenes with me a little bit. And then she's grabbed a couple of links that I think you'll be interested in checking out. So this first one is for the Women in Drones YouTube page. So there's a lot of good content there. We don't usually talk about the YouTube page. And so I thought, oh, this is a great time to actually bring that up. So we put that in there. And then there is also a link that she had posted in here for the Texas Interop. And so you want to check that out. It's a trailer, isn't it? Right, Sheila? It's just kind of a recap, and you know that's coming up. And so pretty excited. You know, Women in Drones, we have so many great things coming up for 2023. It's super exciting. So I know we're going to be doing a wrap up for this year, but then we'll be moving on to next year, and it's super exciting for all this stuff we have. One more quick announcement. Wait a second. Do I see Jennifer Pigeon? Wow.
Yes, ma'am.
Gosh.
Nice to see everyone. Nice to be back.
Oh, wow. And even Jennifer Birdsong, we haven't seen her for quite a while too. This is awesome. I'm super excited to have her. It might have something to do with the spotlight speaker today, but let's just say it's the community. Everybody loves the community, right? So, all right. So really quick, like coming up ahead next week, we have Michelle from Wing Expand. She's going to be our spotlight speaker. And then we also have Janice, and she's going to be kind of doing a burnout session as far as like wrapping up our year and moving forward with 2023. Perfect way to like wrap up our year, right? And then our holiday party, right? So if you have not been a part of Coffee Connection for the two years we've been going, we've always been having a holiday party. So we already have gifts lined up, giveaways, all kinds of fun stuff. So, and that'll be on the December 20th. It'll be the last one for the year. All right. So with that, I have a lot to say, huh? With that, I am excited to introduce Joanna, but I don't think she really needs any introduction. If you are anywhere on internet, social media at all, you have seen her amazing photos. And so we have Joanna here, and she is going to share how she has actually submitted photos and become an award winner. I am super excited, Joanna. Thank you for joining us on the Coffee Connection, and I will make you spotlight for everyone.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It's always a big honor. This is my second time here on the Coffee Connection, and definitely think I'm a little more prepared. So I thank you for the opportunity. So I'll be talking a little bit about contests awards and submissions, and I'm gonna share my screen. I've got lots of photos to share with you, but just to give you a quick outline, we're gonna start with where to start and how I started to get a little bit into submitting. It actually was kind of a fluke, I think. So I'm going to share my PowerPoint. So one of the biggest things one of the greatest things I can tell you is to fly often. The more you fly, the better your chances of capturing something fantastic. So I fly almost every day. In the summer times when we have marine life in the ocean, I was flying about 6 Mavic 3 batteries. So with travel, it was about 6 hours, early in the morning, late in the day. And so the more you fly, the better you get, and the better you get, the better you feel. So that's like some after school rhyme. I don't know where that came from, but okay. So the second thing that I did personally was I started submitting my photos to local contests. We have a local newspaper here that does a photo contest every month, and it's really easy to submit. And so this year I won 3 months. That's $300 for local restaurants, gift cards that I got. That was pretty helpful. So there's also local Facebook groups. A lot, I have locals, so hopefully you have them in your area too. I think they're just all over the place, where they do cover photo contests. And so share your work. Find these little contests, share your work, and you'll start seeing, the reaction of people around you. It also gives you a chance to interact with other photographers and videographers. I think most of the world is not really used to seeing drone photos and footage. I often forget that at times. How something looks so cookie cutter to me, somebody else could really, really enjoy because they're not used to seeing photos all the time, like I do. Look at drone photos all the time. So I think sometimes I get oversaturated. I make sure I take time to like go and walk into galleries, walk into museums, step aside from the drone and the computer and get into nature, listen to music or concerts or anything that can ignite my creativity in this on a separate level. That's always quite helpful to me. I also found some mentors. When I started posting and I started looking at other people's work, there are people that, and there always will be people that are so far beyond my capabilities right now. And I aspire to be as professional and clean as these two. Andy Leclerc and Sally Levy are 2 men that I have worked with. They have been exceptionally helpful on just so many levels. And I really attribute a lot of my, I got a lot better, a lot quicker, so ask for help. We're all here for help. I'm going to leave all my contact information at the end. Feel free to reach out to me anytime. Couple of things. I had joined Airvuz. There's Airvuz and there's Sky Pixels. I think they're the 2 biggest places to post your drone photos. And Sky Pixels has a weekly contest. I only just got onto Sky Pixels. They have a contest and it's open right now for submissions, at least till the end of the year. One thing I noticed about Sky Pixels is that they do weekly selections. So you might be better off in the long run to only put up when you're really starting out, only put up a few a week. I wouldn't suggest putting up like 40 1 week, because then you're kind of overloading, all the other viewers and contributors. Let's see. So what started out for me is, let's go here. Okay, so back in 2020, I heard that I got nominated for the New York City Drone Film Festival. I had, I was just absolutely floored. This is Swampy Grasses, and I had posted it on Airbus. I never submitted anything to the contest, and but I was just really surprised. And that's kind of what really set me off to think that, maybe my work really is good enough to, start submitting to, up a level from just the local contests. One thing you want to remember on the local contest side, most of your judges are not professional photographers, and I'll speak a little bit about who your audience is, know your audience. Just remember, a lot of them are not professional photographers, and so I think it's a little different. When you're picking your photos, you may want to focus on what's, local landmarks. That's most intriguing to your local community and whatnot. So I did not win the New York City Drone Film Festival, and this was the last year they had it. So, but I actually thought there was a chance when I looked at the other entries, which was like pretty cool. So I'm going to list, these are a couple of popular contests that I know about. Now there's contests all over the world, and they're just endless. Film Freeway is the main source where I go to, filmfreeway.com. I created an account in the beginning of this year. And I uploaded I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 photos, and it's free. You can upload free. These are the contests that I had entered that were all entries were under $20. A lot of the contests are, you can enter one free and then pay for the next submissions. Southern California, Thunderbird Drone Film Festival is located in Oklahoma, International Photography Contest. I just entered that because it wasn't a drone festival. And don't forget, you can enter photography contests, and you'll be surprised that there are not as many drone photos in these normal photography contests as you might expect. So I entered the Brazil Drone Film Festival and Detroit. Detroit was postponed until 2023. They also have an Arizona Drone Film Festival, which the entries were $55, so I opted out of that one. Now, Boston Drone Film Festival should be opening up for entries on Freeway any day now. They skipped this year and said that they were going to run their festival in March of 2023. In Film Freeway, okay. Well, I'll go back to Film Freeway in a second, but some other higher end contests are the Sienna Awards. So Sienna Awards is, I think it's got to be the most notorious drone contest in the world. I'm not sure. I know it's pretty long standing. Their entries are open. I made a big mistake. When I entered Sienna Awards, it was the first contest I entered that actually wasn't on Film Freeway. I didn't really read. So the Sienna Awards has a bunch of different categories. They've got a portrait, landscape, abstract. And I didn't really think my submissions through into what categories, because on Film Freeway, I was submitting for a 1 photo win. Basically, a lot of these drone festivals are all drone videos, but they do have one still photography category. So the Sienna Awards, I actually got an email from them that I had 2 that made their short list, but they weren't, the resolution was not acceptable. And so I re-entered, but I didn't win this year. I will win in 2023. I'm absolutely going to win something over there. Then there's also the American Photography Awards, which is like a really big contest. I think they get 14,000 entries. And so I actually was chosen out of the top 40, which was kind of cool. And Sky Pixels, we spoke about that. And this is the winner. This was Parting Ways. Parting Ways, which was one of my favorite photos from the year. And actually, this was submitted because I was told it was an award winner by one of my mentors. I do have a hard time picking, what's a good shot and what's not a good shot. The interesting thing is that, it wasn't so popular to any kind of local papers and whatnot, but it did well. It also won the International Photography Award out of New York. Now, there's a whole ton of international photography awards. They're all over the place. This particular one had been in place only about 2 years. So I have picked it because I wanted to submit to a regular photography contest and because it was relatively new. Being that it's relatively new, you're probably going to have less entries, which gives you a much better chance to win. This was a winner of the Southern California Film Festival this year. This is New Day. And I got to speak with some of the judges afterward. And one of the judges had mentioned to me, he said, what caught my eye was that there's no horizon. And I come from a background of graphic design. I had no photography experience when I started flying. Basically, I don't really like rules. When somebody says just rule of thirds and you have to have a horizon, I just kind of zone that out and do whatever looks best to me. So I found it quite interesting because I'm starting to see, I actually do a lot of these type of shots without the horizon. So it's always a learning experience. In Film Freeway, if you sign up, you can submit. One of the mistakes that I made is that I entered, these are the festivals, and these are like the titles. These are the dates you get notified. And then this is if you get an award. One thing that I didn't really realize, taking into account, was that I entered all the same photos for all the same contests. So Southern California came out first, and then Thunderbird came out, and I had entered the same photos. So the Thunderbird judges looked into me and knew that the one photo had already won. So, next time what I would do is enter different photos for each contest. That's learning experience. So anyway, we're gonna get into some, knowing your audience, picking which photos, what you might, consider. Some, like I said, some have themes, some are just basic. Most of the Film Freeway submissions that I do are just basic, one photo wins. So there's no categories like landscape and portrait and whatnot. So while I go through some of these, the presentation, composition, these are the things that I believe judges look for on this level. I'm going to take you through some of my photos while I yip and yap here. So in terms of presentation, you don't get a second chance for a good impression. So you want to make sure that you meet all the entry requirements. You want to check the specifications, make sure your DPI is right, your resolution is right, and make sure you're within all their size limits. So when it comes to composition and arrangements, you want to make sure the photos are arranged in some kind of meaningful, pleasing manner. Just soothing to the eye, where the eye will follow. This one right here is actually a crack in a potato field, a frozen crack in the potato field. That looks top. I do a lot of top downs, and this is kind of looks like a tree. Now this one over here is, I added a couple of little effects, makes it look a little more like a paint. So the next thing I think that judges really consider is the technical quality. Is it clean? Is it clear? Is it crisp? These are some of the crispest shots I got this summer. Got some of my favorites. Humpback whales out in the North Atlantic. Make sure your exposure is right, the lighting is right. We've got, like on this one, an extra, the push of the water with the reflection of the sun gives it an added dimension. So this photo was actually taken 1 second after this photo. Those are some of my favorites. And in terms of editing, so everyone expects you to do any basic editing, and of course it's permitted. Shadows, lights, recovery, exposure adjustments, color balance, etc. And sharpening, contrast, and all these things are permitted. I do not. I do some cloning. I would do cloning just to get a few of the white air. Sometimes I get air bubbles in the water and I would clone those out. That's about it. And I do use some oil filter effects sometimes. I think we got, not here. Missed the cue on that one. These are a couple of my favorite surf shots. So, any type of heavy filters and edits will not disqualify you, but the judges will pass on to it. So like these are kind of strong edits here, some sharks. I'm not really sure, this one looks realistic, but how realistic does this look? I don't know, but when you're dealing with the water, some days it's clear, some days it's not. So it really was pretty close to realistic. Okay, so you want to also focus on the categories and topics, you want to make sure that you pick the appropriate image for the category. So believe it or not, this could be considered a profile photo for Sky Pixels. Never would have thought that. But the only reason I figured that out is because I can look at previous winners and what's been submitted. So that's another thing with these contests. I always try to look at the previous winners and see what kind of work was selected the year before. Sometimes, usually it's too late. When it gets closer to the award time, we'll look into some of the judges and, see what their cast is and what their preferences are. Because everybody brings, their own baggage when they're judging. So, you want to make sure your lighting is accurate. This
So
is
Joanna,
yes.
there's a question in our chat regarding, do you use Lightroom and Photoshop?
Okay, so yes, I used Lightroom first, and it was really tough for me. I always used Photoshop. I came from a graphic background, but actually Andy and Solly really pushed me to get into Lightroom, and now it's become a regular practice. I mean, it's been a year and a half. It's taken me a long time, but I do go to Lightroom, and I add, gradients and whatnot. And then I go into Photoshop for any kind of small time fine tuning, like air bubbles and whatnot. And then now what I'm doing is actually using, I'm using Topaz AI because a lot of my photos are so cropped. I take photos, and a lot of times when you're around the fish and marine life, you don't have a lot of time to frame the shot, so I crop a lot. And I use the Topaz AI Giga to increase the resolution and make it printable, so I can actually now print some of these, have them printed 4 to 6 foot. So I don't have a specific style. I don't think. Maybe I do. People say that, they see these types of photos and they know they're mine. This has got a heavy mix of oil filters and stuff. This I would not enter into a photography contest because it's so fast, but I would sell it as an NFT.
Wow, there's a subject in itself, right? So we do
Now,
yeah.
yes,
So we do have a couple more questions that actually popped up. Of course, there's been so many comments about how beautiful those images are. They're just stunning.
Thank you.
One of the questions that came up was, do you use a ND filter?
Not when I photograph. Well, hold on. Not when I photograph. I tried using the polarizing filter over the water for the glare, and you have to be at a specific, and you have to have the polarizing lens at a very specific angle to shoot. And I'm flying around like this all over looking for the fish. So I found no, I only use the ND filters when I'm shooting video
Okay,
to get the
awesome.
right frames per second when it's not in auto mode. So videos in auto mode, you're going to have variations of light and dark and light and dark and when you're in auto mode. But in order to, if it's a bright day, in order to get the right frames per second, which for me is usually 30, I put a filter on so that I can keep it in a manual mode. But other than that, nope, no filters.
All right, so another question in our chat is, do you use model releases or property releases?
Do I use them?
Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
So if you have a model or a person that is a subject matter in your image, do you get the model release?
I don't, but it's definitely something to really think about. It's definitely something to think about. I haven't really shot anybody up close. I do when I do videos, now that I'm offering like FPV videos through storefronts and stuff. I do the National Cemetery System, so yes, I need permission from them. But I haven't actually had the pleasure of working with models. A lot of the property is public property, or what I don't do is I will not fly behind a hedge and go looking for stuff in people's property. So I do try to be very respectful. All of these surfers I know, and they don't have any problem. They had no problem. Actually gifted them each the photos at the end.
Yeah, I bet they love it. These that you have showing right here are just phenomenal. I love the coloring.
Thank you. It's amazing how timing can be so time. You can go to the same spot different times a day and you're going to get a whole different thing. And I can get to that. These are some stingrays, which have been pretty popular. Pretty happy with these. We get they're actually cow-nose rays. So these, I don't know where I was going. Okay, these I put in. I know Desi likes this one over here. I just put this up the other day. So I go to Google Earth or Google Maps and I find these spots and I look and I spend a huge amount of time searching for any really cool spot. So this was a brand new spot about an hour away. This is Crabtree Island. So this one down here was taken around noon when it was cloudy. And then when the sun popped out, it just burst with color around these edges. Not this much. This is edited. But what I saw was in this one, all these pink. I thought it was sediment for clay, but it turns out it's actually bacteria. So when the tide went down over a couple of hours, it completely looks so different. I mean, it makes it, so much fun just to watch this happen and unfold around, around me. Also, one other thing I wanted to talk about is the impact. I think that was my last one, wasn't it? Yep. Okay, so you want to make sure it's, impactful. Does it, it's like this one right here. I call this one Delta Formation, and it's simple, but it's clear and it's crisp and it's a line and it's pleasing to the eye. The basic person knows exactly what it is. And so, you want to make sure that you communicate to your viewers that they can figure out what it is. But I do like making them think. I like making them like, what is that? And for most people, they don't really know a lot of times, like, what is that? Most people can't guess what it is. It's kind of fun. But where am I on time? Oh, we're good on time. Oh,
You're fine on time, fine on time. There's actually one photo that I know you have done that
Okay.
hasn't been shown yet. And you did the
Oh,
cornfield. There's a cornfield that you do that is just amazing. And just having that higher perspective of that cornfield is amazing. It's a corn
like
that
the
maze.
corn mazes? Oh,
Yeah.
all right, let me find one. Hold on. I got one. See, that to me, like, is a shot. Okay. I tried to
So
do shots. Yes.
that relates right back to what you said in the very beginning. When you're in it, and this has happened to me so many times where I'm just entrenched in the drone industry and you're just so involved in it that you're seeing these photos over and over, and yet when you see it from the perspective of someone else and they're looking at your work, it's like, wow, and so I totally understand what you were saying earlier.
Well, you know what, funny thing was, is I sat down with a nonprofit. They wanted to they wanted to do a calendar with my photos, and they give it out to, it was like, it's a nonprofit for cancer patients. And so it was kind of interesting. And I'm sitting down at the office, and I've got these 3 women in the office, and all the photos are, to me, boring. Boring. Like, ugh. And they're like, oh my gosh, this is so incredible. And I'm like, wow. It's pretty interesting, to hear the different perspectives, how
Awesome.
mindful, how you really can get oversaturated. For me, I found it's not helpful. You have to stop and step away. And, you get even more inspired.
Yeah, and find
Let
that
me see.
inspiration again. So there is a couple more questions that popped in, and of course, a
Okay.
whole lot of comments of amazing, beautiful, fantastic, all those. There was another one that came in about what drones are you using?
Oh, okay. I am flying. I've got a Phantom 4 Pro that I keep as a backup drone, or, if I have to do mapping. I tried some mapping, fascinated with it. Just have to, don't really want to make a living at it. So, but I do have the Phantom 4 backup. I'm flying the Mavic 3 Cine, which is just such a game changer in terms of the quality of the images. Sometimes I could be 200-300 feet and you can literally see the blades of grass. I could see clover flowers in the field, in the grass field, in the horse field. Picks
Wow.
it up on the camera. So that one, and I have a DJI FPV and the Avata FPV, which I live. So it's one thing for me is I kind of get bored with things. I get very easily bored. So I spent my whole summer shooting everything I could in terms of the marine life, and DJI gave me the Avata, and it just adds just a nice compliment. I can focus on, photography. I just can't do photography like all the time. So it's so much fun flying the FPV. It's so much fun. And it's a whole new world. That's for sure.
So, and I've seen some of your videos with that, Ivana. So, yay. Okay, so we have another question in here from Josh. Do you contribute to uploading for stock video or photo sites?
I don't do any of that, no Shutterfly or anything. And I've mentioned this because I believe, and I heard this towards the beginning a little bit, that in the long run, it can devalue your work. So I want my stuff hanging large in museums and galleries. And nobody's going to pay $5,000 to $10,000 for my image if they can buy one on Shutterstock for $50 to $100. So I've been holding out. I've been holding out for years, and it's just finally starting to come true, little by little.
Awesome. That is fantastic advice right there. And I know Josh, and he's got some really epic footage. And so that's probably some really good advice for him, actually. So
Well, I think too. I think it's good for me. Actually, I've looked into doing some video footage, stock footage. I know I'm not going to be a huge producer, or director, or a sound person. I'm not going to ever be all of those things. I would be honored to be on a team as a drone pilot to do that. But in the long run, I mean, I can make decent videos, but I don't think me alone will ever make anything so fantastic that posting footage for stock footage, it would devalue my work in any sense. I sell a huge amount to news sources. So that was kind of the same as stock almost. So I have an agent that sells to news sources.
so you have an agent that you work with.
Well, I have an agent I work with. It's a company, very popular company called Storyville. And they pretty much they take everything I give them and sell it all around the world.
Awesome.
So
Okay, so
it has to be relevant. It has to be relevant. It has to be interesting. So we had 6 shark attacks on Long Island. So that content was very relevant. It did very well. So
Awesome. Okay, so we're going to go back to our chat because it seems to be getting away from me here at this point. So we've got one that says Avada for the win. Yes, it's on the Christmas list. And I just had bought the original DJI FPV. So I'm like, oh man, here we are coming out with another one again, right? Classic. So, and then Jennifer Pigeon, she made a really good comment in here also about it's absolutely will. And that was when we were referring to being cautious of where you put your information out. She said she had a lawsuit that she's working through. And so she said, don't expect to have the gallery options sell you with the large money. Are you selling your images on the oh my gosh, there's a word.
Amalgamation.
Thank
The
you.
stock sites.
Yeah. So, yeah. Great input right there, Jennifer. Thanks. Then how do you promote yourself on social media? Great question.
Oh, I just post. And so social media can drive you absolutely crazy. Me crazy. I don't want to be an influencer, but I try to respond to as many people as I can. I am on Instagram. Oh, it's in that last frame. Did I bring that last frame up?
I don't know.
I did not. Give me 1 second. Let me up.
Bring it back up. We're good. So while you're doing that, we have, if a child or a teen is interested in piloting a drone, taking pictures, what's a good starter drone? Okay. So I'm going to put that one out there to everybody because I know you are going to get just flooded in the chat right now to answer that question. So
I'm sorry.
there we go. You got it. Your awards are up.
Oh, yeah. So this is all my contact if you want to contact me. I'm sorry, Desi. I'm sorry, everyone. I missed something.
You're all good.
What I missed.
It's wonderful. You're good.
Okay.
So did you say Story Vault?
Storyful. Storyful. And the you can just email viral@storyful.com. They find me on Twitter. So, social media. So Twitter was a really great place for me to connect with meteorologists and news anchors all around the world, all around the country at least. They just love drone footage, they love it. And I gave it away for free for a long time. And then I stopped giving it away for free, and turns out they'll pay for it. But they will not buy from me direct. They'll only buy through like Storyville. I think there's Newsflare and places like that too. My Twitter account is slowly turned into more of an NFT promotion. I started selling NFTs, sold about 5 NFTs in 2 months, and I've got a collector that's really trying to push for more sales. So that'll probably veer towards that. Instagram, I've only been on Instagram 2 years. And, I try to keep it simple, and I'm down to trying to only post maybe 1 or 2 a week. So that way I can handle comments and really acknowledge each person, because I do read every single comment that comes my way or message. And I do reply as much as I can, but it becomes extremely time consuming. I also am a moderator and admin for DJI Facebook groups. That's a good place to share your photos. They do a weekly photo contest, and it's always great to win a DJI photo contest. So that happens every Monday morning. I think I put the link up here somewhere. If not, just message me. I can get you that one. It's a good place to start. You can really tell, what's good, and, something that I think is fantastic, many people don't like. So it's just a journey, be true to yourself and believe in yourself, have faith. I cross my fingers, I knock on wood, I dance under the moon, I think when I fly, I have like a specific ritual, like a baseball player does when they go up to bat, they shake and they do this and that. Anyway, I, do my safety checks, and I stop, I take 30 seconds to reflect, and I thank Mother Nature for, and I ask her to bring me, bring me what the world wants to see. So
Awesome.
anyway,
Awesome.
more questions.
Awesome. So a couple things really quick, because we are kind of running out of time. First of all, this, if you're not familiar with it, they do take a couple weeks, but the replays are up on the Women in Drones website under the library, so you can capture all this great information again if you'd like. And then in the meantime, if you'd like to just take a quick snapshot of all that information in there, where you can follow her on IG and all that, that would be good too. And then let's make sure that I have, if a child is interested in piloting a drone, taking pictures, which one would we start? So I think that is being answered throughout. And so I think we're still good on all of our questions in there. So I just want to kind of wrap up with one last thought. Now I do stay on afterwards, so if you want to have just conversation or anything, that's fine, but I like to wrap it up so you have time to move on to your next meeting. So Joanne, can you tell us what's on the horizon for you? What do you want to do? What's your future look like?
I'm gonna blow it up.
Right.
And I mean large. In large. We want to go big. I want to go big in the printing. I've had numerous people ask for things 4 to 6 feet, and I haven't been able to do it, but I'm working on it. So that's one thing on my list is, I want to be in galleries more. I want to be in museums. I live in a place with a lot of galleries. I mean, there's probably 15 art galleries and within 20 minutes of me. It's the Hamptons, so it's different people. But so there's that and the Avada FPV. I just have to keep doing better and better and better. And I've got a couple of stores lined up, department store at Christmas, and it's just so much fun. And I think the world needs to see more footage, drone FPV photos. And I do that by getting stuff in the news. And I have sold a couple of FPV videos to the news. It's different, it's neat, it's unique, and it's still a niche, but when it comes out of the niche phase, I'm going to be ready and be able to fly. So it's a lot of practice and it's fun.
Awesome, awesome. So just really quick, like I did put your website into our chat, and she's in the Hamptons. I saw that question come up, and so I put that in there. So if you wanted to check that out. And then it looks like that wraps up all the questions that I can see. Sheila, did I miss anything there in our chat as they were coming by? I got it. All right, we're all good. And oh, I did see JJ. She did make a comment about, look at the shape of that water right there. Oh, it's just stunning. And
The art?
yeah.
Yeah, so I've been there 55 times and never, I always said, wow, this could really be a heart. This could really be a heart, but it wasn't a heart, not really. And this one time, those lily pads formed a heart, and I was like, there it is. See, you gotta fly. You just gotta fly and it'll.
Just get out and do it. Right. Oh, wonderful. Well, we are so thankful that you joined us on the Coffee Connection. Thank you so much. And yes, everybody get out and fly.
Yeah, fly safe, dream big.
Yes, yes.
Thank you
All
so
right.
much for having me.
Okay, so if you want to save the chat, lower 3 dots in the lower right hand corner, a lot of good information in there. Joanna, thank you so much for joining us. And then if anybody needs to jump out, totally understand. A lot of people saying thank you, awesome, beautiful work, all that. So thank you, really thank you for joining us on the Coffee Connection, taking your time. I look forward to seeing everybody next week. All right.
We'll
Bye.
be here. Thank you.
Hey.
Bye, everyone.
That kind of wraps it up.